Hello friends, and welcome back to 5 Agendas. 1 year ago, February 1st, 2020, we published a thought paper, Watchman One of the Night, on the connection of the 70 weeks to Admete. And the obvious connection of the 70 weeks to Admete, here on the first page, we noted Admete, which, remember, the saint asked the certain saint, which we know is Palmoni, the wonderful number, the man in linen, asked him Admete, which means how long or until when. Note this. Christ's antitypical high priestly ministration commenced in the midst of the week, right here, the 70th week in 31 AD. Just after the cross, following his high priestly inauguration in the heavenly sanctuary, which vision, the Kazon, concerning the daily, goes until the Admete, until when inquiry time, which inquiry concerned the daily, and the hostile events toward it by the little horn as being unto 2,300 days. Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed, as spoken by the man in linen, in answer to the question Admete, until when? And that's in 1844 AD. This is why the daily and the little horn's transgression, abomination of desolation against the daily for the 1290 years also goes unto the same time of 1844. And we'll look at that in just a moment. And that's from Daniel 8:13 to 14 and 12:11. So it's the daily that goes unto the Admete, or until one point in 1844, that is the most obvious connection of the 70 weeks here to Admete. Now, a suggestion request from the field came through to our office as follows, and that is the reason for this chart. And this is the threefold decree of Ezra 6 and the 70 weeks of Daniel 9. Now, while looking at this chart, also what would really be awesome would be to present a chart utilizing the 70 weeks prophecy in conjunction with the decrees of Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes' 7th year and his 20th year. The first two are way too early for the coming of Jesus. It would have taken place around the time of 50 or 30 BC. And the 20th year of Artaxerxes is way too late. Sometime around 47 AD. And the one that perfectly locks in is the 7th year of Artaxerxes right here, which was the fall of 457 BC. In other words, 4 separate charts, 1, 2, 3, 4, for the 4 decrees and adding 70 weeks, see, to each of their respective starting points. With regard to the Cyrus and Darius decrees, a year plus or minus makes no difference. Jesus would have arrived around 50 or 30 BC. Okay? Here. Observe. As you take a look at the chart, you'll notice that we are referring you to the threefold decree mentioned in Ezra 6:14, which says, "And the elders of the Jews builded, and they prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddu. And they builded and finished it according to the commandment of the God of Israel, and according to the commandment of Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes, king of Persia." Then we refer you to the 70 weeks in Daniel 9:24. Which says, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. So see, here we have the threefold decree of the 7 weeks, or 49 years, the 62 weeks, or 434 years, and the 1 week. of 7 years. Okay, and there's all the Bible proof texts. So no one can say this isn't Bible. And the big problem with the gap year is, if you have a gap in between here and have this 70th week into the future, then, you're basically saying that, the Savior didn't come and didn't die, and all the events in this 70th week didn't take place, and that's why that's a huge error. Please, while reading the below paragraph from the thought paper, refer now to the enclosed Bible chart titled The Threefold Decree and the 70 Weeks. Right here. All right. So next, the point is made that the 70 weeks begin in 457 BC, as brought out in the Harper Study Bible, page 1313. Now, this was some evidence that we published in the thought paper, which says, the terminus quo for the commencement of these 69 weeks of years is stated to be from the going forth of the word or decree to restore and build Jerusalem, verse 25. This may refer to the divine decree or one of 3 historical edicts. Number 1, right here, the decree of Cyrus in 538 BC, Ezra 1:1-4. And number 2, the order of Artaxerxes in Ezra 457, right here, which apparently involved authority to erect the walls of Jerusalem. See Ezra 7:6 and 7 and 9:9. And number 3, the order of Nehemiah in 445 BC to carry through the rebuilding of the walls, which Ezra had not been able to accomplish. Of these choices, one, this one right here from these resources, and I know we have 4 parts here, but it's only referring to this one, and this one here. Of these choices, one must be ruled out as coming nowhere near the time of Christ's ministry. See, here's Christ's ministry, the beginning of Christ's ministry right here. And see, this is why we put here the vertical red line right here equals the 69 weeks or 483 years. From the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince. So here's this vertical red line. So from the going forth of the commandment unto the Messiah, the Prince. And that's why it has to be from 457 BC to 27 AD. 3, right here, from the resources, even though it's the 4th one here on the chart, 3 comes out too late unless lunar years are used for the computation. Only number 2, the third one right here, number 2, from this resources that we brought out in the thought paper. Only 2 comes out right according to the regular solar years, for it yields the result of AD 27, or the commencement of Christ's ministry. Another source, mention is then made of Gleason L. Archer, who is a very interesting source. From the Encyclopedia of Bible Difficulties, Grand Rapids, Zondervan, 1982, see page 290, which says the following. If then the decree of 457, granted to Ezra himself, is taken as the commencement of the 483 years, okay, right there, the 483 years, this being the commencement, we come out to the precise year of the appearance of Jesus of Nazareth as Messiah or Christ, right here. 483 minus 457 comes out to AD 26. But since a year is gained in passing from 1 BC to 1 AD, there being no such year as 0, it actually comes out to 27 AD. Most remarkable exactitude in the fulfillment of such an ancient prophecy. Unquote. Okay, so what we have here is the threefold decree, okay, of Ezra 6, Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes. Here's the 7th year and his 20th year. 80 plus years too soon for the Messiah the Prince. This one, 60 plus years too soon for the Messiah the Prince. See how it starts here in 538 or 536? 490 years, takes you to 48 or 46 BC, comes nowhere near the red line, which is the Messiah, the Prince. Okay? Darius starts in 519 BC, 490 years, takes you to 29 BC. Again, comes nowhere near the point. And the point is that this red line is established in Bible. And I'll get to that in just a second. The Artaxerxes, 7th year, it was this 3rd decree which completed the commandment and gave legal status to the city in order to function properly, from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince. 69 weeks or 483 years. And then the 70th week, 1 week, 3.5 years on either side of that, and in the midst of the week is when he caused the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, which ends in 34 AD. 70 weeks, or the 490 years, terminate in 34 AD. When using the starting date of 457 BC, right here, everything locks in tightly. 457 BC plus 69 weeks, or 483 years, takes us to 27 AD, right here, which is the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, when Jesus was baptized, and that equals an anointed one, Messiah the Prince. And Luke 3, 1 to 21 is the Bible evidence, the Bible proof, being the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, which can be confirmed in the historical records that it's 27 AD. So the Bible is telling you the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar is in 27 AD, was when the Messiah the Prince was going to start his ministry. From the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince. Okay? An established fact. See here? Artaxerxes' 20th year can't be used because it starts from 444 BC, an approximation. These are, as well as this. 490 years takes you to 47 AD. See, it's too late. Look how far it's past being too late for the point of the Messiah the Prince. The only one that locks it in is 457 BC. Too early. Look at the time span here. Too early. A little bit closer, but still too early. And far too late. 13 years too late for the Messiah the Prince. 3.5 years later, he died from 31 AD. In 31 AD, and 3.5 years after 31 AD, the 490th year or 70th week expired in 34 AD right here. Okay? So, the 3 chronological segments of Daniel 9. What follows verse 24 from 25 to 27 is the immutable details for the 70 weeks or 490 years prophecy, which says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment, right here, 457 BC, decree to rebuild Jerusalem, that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince, takes you to here, 27 AD, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. So there's your 49. See here, your 7 weeks, or 49 years, plus your 434 years, or 62 weeks, which is 483 years, takes you to here. Arriving at 27 AD, the street shall be built again and the wall. Now that's from 408 BC. Jerusalem restoration completed in 408 BC. So from 408 BC, you have 49 years. Okay, 7 weeks. From 457 BC. So you see how you have the 7 weeks and the 62, which takes you to 27 AD. The street shall be built again and the wall, even in troublous times. See Ezra. And after 62 weeks, which is after the 408 BC, which is the 434 years, 62 weeks or 62 weeks to 27 AD. After this time frame came 31 AD. In the midst of the week, here's your 70th week. See, your 7 and your 62 is 69, which takes you to here. And after 62 weeks, after the time frame came 31 AD, in the midst of the week is when Messiah shall be cut off, 31 AD, but not for himself and the people of the prince. And that can only equal the Messiah, the prince, because it's the only prince that's mentioned in context, as no other prince was introduced in context. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and that equaled the Jewish-Roman wars. After that, and the end thereof shall be with the flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. See, 70 AD, the city and the sanctuary destroyed. And he, Messiah, the prince, shall confirm the covenant, the new mediatorial covenant, with Christ as great high priest, which entails writing his perfect and holy 10 Commandment covenant on our hearts and minds. See Hebrews chapter 4, 8, and 10. Shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, right here, that 1 week, that 70th week. That's your 7 years, the 1 week from 27 AD to 34 AD with 3.5 years on either side, which was the end of the full 70 weeks right here in 34 AD. The 70 weeks or 490 years terminated there. And in the midst of the week, 31 AD, the cross, 3.5 years from 27 AD and 3.5 years to 34 AD, he shall cause, right there in the midst of that week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, which means our Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us, as Paul said in 1 Corinthians 5:7. Thus he accomplished, finished, as mentioned in John 19, 28, and 30. He accomplished and finished the need to keep the feasts literally, the sanctuary services, animal sacrifices, and he condemned sin in the flesh from Romans 8:3. And for the overspreading of abominations, the cross from 31 AD to 66 and 70 AD, Jerusalem compassed with armies, as Jesus spoke of in Luke 21:20. He shall make it desolate, those overspreading of abominations. He shall make it desolate. He said, behold, your house is left unto you desolate, from Matthew 23:38. He shall make it desolate even unto the consummation. That's 70 AD. Destroy the city and the sanctuary. A flood, desolations are determined, shall be poured upon the desolate. Jesus said, your house. Daniel 9:25 to 27. Okay, and there's all the proof texts, the 70 weeks, and because it broke it up. When Gabriel told this to Daniel, he said 70 weeks from 457 to 408, 62 weeks from there to 27 AD. That's your 69 weeks, and in the final 70th week, in the midst of the week, he caused the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. Jesus said in 31 AD, within the very shadows of the complete fulfillment of the 70 weeks, behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Okay, back to our threefold decree chart. The Cyrus decree, right here, coming back now to the new chart, the help chart on the threefold decree in the 70 weeks, you'll notice that the decree of Cyrus around circa 538, 536 BC, and adding 69 or 70 weeks, 483 or 490 years to either of these dates takes you either to circa 55 or 53 BC, and adding 69 or 70 weeks, 483, which is 80 years, give or take, too soon. See? It's too soon for the Messiah's arrival. This is based on the immutable Bible dictum found in Luke 3:1 and verse 21, which is and establishes the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar as 27 AD. It cannot be any of these other dates, which established the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar as the Messiah's arrival, when the true Messiah, Jesus Christ, was baptized by John the Baptist in the River Jordan in 27 AD. Right here, right on schedule. From the going forth from here to the Messiah the Prince right here, locked in. This is the reason for the vertical red line. The vertical red line equals 69 weeks. See, right here, 69 weeks from 457 BC. Or 483 years, from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince. Daniel 9:25. This cannot be denied. Now, coming to the Darius decree. The same applies to the decree of Darius around 519 BC, and adding 69 or 70 weeks, which is the 483 or 490 years to this date, takes you to 36 and 29 BC, right here, which is 60 plus years too soon, see, for the Messiah's arrival. The decrees of Cyrus and Darius were indeed issued, but neither of these decrees began the ticking of the prophetic time clock. See, they were issued. This happened. But it was this right here that began the ticking of the prophetic time clock. These did not begin the timer. This began the prophetic time clock for the 70 weeks. And God knew why. Darius's renewal of the first decree, here's your first decree, and his renewal of that first decree by Cyrus was due to the fact that there had been some hindrance to the work. You can read about it in Ezra 6, 7-12. Now coming to the Artaxerxes' 7th year decree. It was this third decree right here which completed the commandment and gave legal status to the city in order to function properly. When using the starting date of 457 BC, everything locks in tightly. For all of this, observe, 457 BC plus 69 weeks, or 483 years, takes us to 27 AD, which is the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, which the Bible, Luke 3, 1 and 21, says was the year Jesus was baptized, and history proves that that 15th year of Tiberius Caesar was 27 AD. When Jesus was baptized, the Anointed One, the Messiah the Prince, right there. And that's why we have lines from the Messiah the Prince, from the going forth here, unto the Messiah the Prince here. Only these dates match up. 3.5 years later, he died in 31 AD. 3.5 years after 31 AD is when the 490th year or 70th week expired in 34 AD, right there. Now, coming to Artaxerxes' 20th year, you'll notice that the date of circa 444 BC, and adding 69 or 70 weeks, either here for the 490 or the 69, the 483 or the 490 years to this date takes you to 40 and 47 AD, which is 13 years too late, according to the dictum right here in Luke, the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, for the Messiah's arrival. The question has been asked and answered. Do you realize what you have in your possession with this chart? A masterpiece of divine truth. This chart right here is priceless. Here you have the Cyrus, the Darius, and the 7th year of Artaxerxes in his 20th year, and the evidence that you cannot use this timeline for Cyrus or Darius, neither Artaxerxes' 20th year for the starting point for the 490 years or the 70 weeks. This correctly pinpoints the Messiah, which in turn pinpoints your, dear reader, your great high priest after the order of Melchizedek. It points you to him. But are you determined not to know anything among you save Jesus Christ and him crucified? From 1 Corinthians 2:2. The many errant theological speculations out there regarding the 70 weeks still don't account for the fulfillment of the 70 weeks prophecy which foretold the coming of the Messiah. As well as the destruction of the Jewish temple in 70 AD, over 490 years prior to Roman Empire's time frame of Pax Romana, which was around the time Jesus was born. Daniel received the prophecy near the end of the 70 years of captivity in Babylon, and the book of Ezra, which is dated around 550 to 399 BC, 536 to 457, reveals the starting date of the 70 weeks prophecy, which was the 7th year of the Medo-Persian Artaxerxes Longimanus. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, pronouncing it, which was the fall of 457 BC. See right there. The 70 weeks prophecy, the 7th year of Artaxerxes, the fall of 457 BC. You can find the match in Daniel 9:25 and then go to Ezra 7:7 to 14, right here. Conclusion: mainstream Christianity and Laodicea, which denies a dual atonement that is evidenced in the Old Testament book of Daniel by these two divine chronologies, the 2300 and the 1290. And it's these 2300 years, which also contains the 70 weeks. See, here's your 2300, and here's your 70 weeks within that time frame, and the 1290 years. These two prophecies, two divine chronologies, the 2300 and the 1290, that bring you to Daniel 8:14 in 1844 AD. These two divine chronologies, and the New Testament book of Hebrews, Hebrews 8:3 and 9:23. That's the evidence for a dual atonement of necessity and necessary are totally, those mainstream Christianity and Laodicea, they are totally without any excuse. By having these two divine chronologies from 554 to 1844 with the 1290 and the 2300, that contains the 70 weeks and the 1290 within the 2300, they're without excuse. Denied? Yes, but the Bible evidence can never be disproven. A true paradox for the Evangelicals. And for the Messianics, they likewise cannot explain how God resolved the sin problem in sinful flesh by their keeping the feasts, which feasts technically ceased right here with the sacrifices in the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. It ceased there, but Christ caused, he finished them in 31 AD with his sacrifice, following the fulfillment of the 70 weeks in 34 AD. Why must something be kept that was done away with and cannot resolve the sin problem in sinful flesh when we have a high priestly ministration that can? I'll ask that again. Why must something be kept that was done away with here? And evidence when it was done away with, when the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, the temple sacrifices ceased. Why must something be kept that was done away with and cannot resolve the sin problem in sinful flesh when we have a heavenly high priestly ministration that can? This everlasting gospel, Revelation 14:6, summarized in the book of Hebrews, remains for and will be recognized as a pearl of great price by the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. From Revelation 12:17, 14:12, and 19:10. What does all these mean? These divine truths, divine dictums of the everlasting gospel, are an inexhaustible theme, unsearchable riches concerning the man in linen and his high priestly ministration, a necessity, the first immutable thing at the cross, and the necessary, a final atonement commencing from here. Dual atonement ministration after the order of Melchizedek. See Psalms 110 verse 4. And all this is testified by the man in linen himself by these two divine chronologies. Specifically, number 1 from Daniel 8:14, the 2300 years, and number 2 from Daniel 12:11, the 1290 years. These two divine chronologies prove Daniel 8:14. They lock in the 70 weeks. That's the connection. And the 70 weeks proves all of this and its present truth for us today. The truth of the 70 weeks from 457 BC right here, as well as the 2300 years from the same point, because they both start at this commencement for the ticking of this prophetic time clock right here. From the same point unto 1844 here is meant to lead us unto Christ, the man in linen, pointing us to our Savior, considering our great high priest after the order of Melchizedek. This, the 70 weeks, within the 2300 years, they both start. And admite, how long or until when? The answer was given, unto 2,300 days. 1844. It helps us to consider our great high priest after the order of Melchizedek, even revealing unto us that he was going to cleanse us and resolve the sin problem in our sinful flesh. Yes, even the how. How? From Hebrews 9:23-28. But now, once in the end of the world, hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. So what we have here, we have 457 locked in, right here. We have 27 AD, right there, locked in. 31 AD, 34 AD, locked in. 554, 1844, all locked in, as well as 1814, 1888, and 1889 for the 1260, the 1290, and the 1335, all starting from the same point of 554. Because remember, the question was asked, admite, how long or until when, and it concerned the daily, and the man in linen. The wonderful number said, unto here. And the 1290 concerned the daily. And remember, from Daniel 12, all you have to do from 1844, count back 1290, and you have the date of 554 AD. Now this is the huge point. All these immutable prophetic periods, here's the two immutables right here. The cross, the necessity, and why he was decreed to be a son, and the necessary, the commencement of his high priestly ministration, the final atonement, because he commenced his high priestly ministration after the cross, and the daily went from here to here, because the transgression against it went from here for 1290 years, from 554 to 1844. All these prophetic periods, first immutable, second immutable. These prophetic periods are locked in, and because they are locked in, the rest, here, 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 and here, are all locked in. And because they are locked in, 554, the 70 weeks, Daniel 8:14, because they're locked in, what the most important thing that's locked in are these two immutable things. The necessity and the necessary. Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. His final atonement. And that's the threefold decree of Ezra 6 and the 70 weeks. Way too early? Too early? Precise. Because the wonderful number only deals with precision. and this is too late. So this can be used to share with people why Cyrus, Darius decree cannot start the 490 years or the 70 weeks, and neither can the 20th year of Artaxerxes. It has to be 457, which locks in all these prophetic dates. Because it's the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, which locks in 27 AD. Because if you were to count back 483 years of the 69 weeks from here, from the Messiah the Prince, again, you're going to come to 457 and not 519 or 538 or 536, neither 444. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps. The links for this chart and the thought paper are in the description box below. God bless. See you next time.